Well, hey, Bass Chat family, it's Roy Vogt coming to you not from my home studio and music room outside of Nashville, Tennessee, but my office at Belmont University. If you see there's like a large double bass back there, and I've got there's all my bass guitars over there. Those are the ones I teach with. Okay, so the guitar player who has influenced me the most, well, it's like a huge hint here. Look at my shirt. Yep. Before I even played bass, when I was just like a little teenager, I bought a copy of Are You Experienced and was just knocked out. And then I bought Axis Bold as Love, and then I bought Electric Ladyland, and then I think I got a bass. You know, it was like I had all that stuff. I was listening. I got a bass and started trying to play it, and it gave me fits because Hendrix tuned down a half step, and I didn't know that. So I was trying to I was going through all sorts of gyrations trying to get the sounds, and I finally realized, oh, he tuned down. So I was even, for a while, a guitar player, had a Fender Duosonic, which is kind of like a Mustang guitar, and a fuzz face distortion pedal, and a wah-wah. So 3 guesses as to who I was trying to sound like. So yeah, Jimmy's my man. It really made me feel good to hear Jaco Pastorius in an interview saying, why do you like Hendrix? And he said, third stone from the sun, baby. That's it. So yeah, my influence has always been Jimi Hendrix. The only thing I wish I'd had a chance to do is to see him live. Never did. A little young for that. But still, you can find him on videos and in movies, and the guy is just a game changer. All right. Everybody stay well. Stay safe. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, Ryan Madora here, and this is a great question. I love thinking about guitar players because I really have been influenced by quite a few of them. I'm going to mention just a couple. The first one really is a player in the Philly area, Philly, South Jersey area, who we were playing together in bands for a long time. He was one of the first people that I met when I started going to blues jams, and we kind of had this really excellent musical partnership. His name is Don Evans, and we had a duo, trio, 4-piece, however much money the band was able to make was the number of pieces that would be in the band. And we worked together for a number of years, and he, as a guitar player, was very influential to me as a player and as a person. First, he is a killer player. He's played with Billy Joel, Eric Burdon. He did the LA session scene for a while, and then he ended up moving back to the East Coast. But I learned a lot from him just because a lot of the gigs that we did were duo gigs. So I was kind of forced to have the accountability of being the bass player slash full rhythm section slash soloist. So it kind of forced me to be in a variety of musical roles, and having interaction and interplay with the guitar player really did a lot to, influence my playing and also help me feel confident in my timekeeping and also get comfortable soloing. So that guy, Don Evans, was a huge influence on me. So that one in particular. Another one is just a couple of guitar players that I really listen to because they are awesome. One is I grew up listening to Albert Collins and Albert King. So 2 bluesy Alberts, and those records and the playing on those records was phenomenal, and I learned a lot about how to play bass by listening to those records and kind of getting this background in blues and the combination of like blues and funk. So that was really special. And then I will say too, one of my favorite guitar players who I kind of listen to a lot now for phrasing is Julian Lodge. So he's kind of like a newer influence of mine, but a phenomenal player who I definitely recommend checking out. And then I'm going to say one more, which is going to be Lowell George. I love slide guitar. I love kind of the like Little Feat into New Orleans thing, into Bonnie Raitt-ish stuff that he does, and his phrasing is phenomenal. And I would say that as a bass player, if I go to take a solo, I'm very much aware of what phrasing I should be using and the kind of lyricism that usually kind of allows musical phrases to come out of slide guitar playing, and then just kind of nuanced stuff. And that's kind of the approach that I take to playing bass solos. So I've learned a lot from listening to his playing as well. So those are kind of the major guitar players that I've listened to that have had a huge influence on what I do as a bass player. All right, done.
Hey everybody, this week we had a very interesting question. What guitar player was, a great influence, or, just kind of blew you away? Well, for me, it's always been Alan Holdsworth. Just trying to figure out what he's doing has been a chore within itself. It's so difficult, no telling. But, I do remember one time in 1985, I was on break from Berkeley, and I was in New York City, and I saw this guy named Mike Stern at a place called, the Brecker Brothers owned it at the time, 7th Avenue South, I think it was. And Marcus Miller was playing, but it was just like a pickup gig. It was awesome. I think that really moved me from that moment on. Just, improvising over, jazz standards and, funking them up really well. I just thought that was great. I tend to be really affected by the New York guys a lot. John Scofield, Osnoy, they just seem to speak to me. Eddie Van Halen earlier on, who always was great. I was just always like, mouth was always open. It was just so awesome. So there's just so many. But for me, it was really Mike Stern who really, as an adult, got me going. There's just so many great ones. Stevie Ray and, Mike Stern and Eric Johnson. The list goes on and on. But, just gotta have some open ears. Anyway, that's my take on the whole thing. So I hope you have a great day and enjoy. Okay? Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, Maurice from Los Angeles. This week, Everything Bass is talking about the guitar players that were most influential to us. And for me, that is George Harrison and John Lennon from the Beatles. And in all honesty, I think I need to include Paul McCartney in that. He's quite the guitarist himself and was involved in all that songwriting. But what they did to music and what they did to songwriting and pop and rock, I just think is so influential to everything that happened after that. And I can just know that their influences on almost all music I play. So those gentlemen get my nod, the boys from Liverpool. Alrighty folks, we will see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Hello everybody. I'm coming to you from Righteous Guitars in Roswell, Georgia. Myself, Mr. Scott Martin, and Mr. Ben Calhoun are the last people in the building. They have taken such good care of my bass that we're doing some final touches and we are past closing time. Fantastic equipment, the best skilled technicians, and the most patience that I've ever found with a guitar shop. Cannot recommend the place highly enough, and I thought it would be great to just shoot my answer for this week's video right here. I love guitars, and I love guitar players. I've been hugely influenced by many. To keep my answer short and simple, I highly recommend looking up Mr. Walter Trout. He's a good friend and just a legend in blues and blues rock. We've known one another for years. He's even more wonderful a human being than he is masterful musician. But several years ago, he did an album called Full Circle. And on that album, each track was duos between himself and another legendary guitar player. One track was entitled Workin' Overtime with Jeff Healey. Jeff is a guy whose tone I've tried to replicate on my bass in terms of being clean and being able to cut through without overpowering. Absolutely phenomenal. And also on that album, there was a track called Wrapped Around My Finger with Guitar Shorty. That was just, again, so clean and so powerful. So I highly recommend those guys, and they've influenced me not just in my playing, but also in my personal life. Just great people. I never had the opportunity to play with Mr. Jeff. He passed way too soon, but I love those guys and look up to them, and look forward to these questions every week. I hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying the content as much as we're enjoying creating it. All right, see you next time.
Wow, this is a great question, and it got me thinking actually, because I love guitar players, and I think it comes down to two actually, Steves, the two Steves, Steve Vai and Steve Morse. Steve Vai, if you listen to me play, I don't really play like him, so you might go, I don't get that, but it was really a state of mind. Early on, I remember when I first started playing bass, there was no bass magazine, so I got Guitar Player magazine because Herb Mickman, Jeff Berlin, guys, every once in a while there'd be a bass article. It was stuff to actually at least feed me some information. And there was an interview with Steve Vai, and I remember the title was something like Frank Zappa's Italian Virtuoso. I think that was the name of the article. And I read it, and I was fascinated. It talked about his love of transcription, how he attacked challenges, his creativity, and that just got the ball rolling. And as I started getting more of his solo albums and reading more, he did a series of articles in Guitar Player. I want to say it was like Martian Love Chronicles or something like that, but it was about creativity and expression. These things really shaped how I approached music, and making sure everything I play conveys an emotion or tells a story, and also using effects and using things like that to create soundscapes. I mean, I just loved all that. So definitely Steve Vai. Steve Morse with the Dixie Dregs and later played with many others, but he influenced me because if you bought a Dixie Dregs album, there was every kind of song on there. There was a Baroque classical tune, there was a Southern rock tune, there was a jazz fusion tune, there was a straight up jazz song. And at the time I was very narrow-minded. I liked one style of music, and as I started appreciating Steve Morse and his amazing abilities, I started really getting excited about branching out and trying different styles of music and not being like a one-tone type player, stylistically speaking. The other thing that got me about Steve Morse was reading articles about how much he practiced, and that really kind of like fueled me, because I wanted to be a player like Steve Morse who could play any style and play at the highest level. But basically, all these articles talking about how insatiable he was at practicing kind of changed me, because I was a very minimal practicer at the beginning, and I started realizing, listen, I can't expect to get where he is with my current practice disciplines. And so I bumped everything up and I started studying more variety of materials. And so yeah, Steve Vai, Steve Morse, these two guitar players really shaped me as a player and really continue to inspire me to not become complacent, not become satisfied, always want to be pushing to the next level. All right, that's my two guitarists. Thanks.